There has been a constant debate about how the U.S. depends on immigrants to keep a good economy in agriculture. Some people agree that immigrants, those who are unauthorized to settle in the U.S., are those who contribute to keep produce prices low where the consumer can afford, while others think that it does not make any difference and that they are just taking away many of the jobs that the U.S. natives can obtain in this time of recession.
Since a lot of workers are immigrants. I totally agree. I'm not a native Californian, but I would say here in California it makes a big difference. I'm from the Midwest, and I don't see that big of a difference yet.
We went to stores to find out what's the people's opinion on the topic.
Yeah, make that different because they have everybody has smart, even though it's not legal or illegal.
No viene porque quiere una mejor economía para sus hijos, porque en su país cuando uno está, pues hay mucha pobreza y uno por eso viene a buscar nuevos horizontes acá.
It probably lowers the price.
Lowers the price
of the product.
Y son muy maltratados y muy mal pagados.
Que hace una diferencia, que sin ellos no saldría todo el trabajo que se hace. Son los que resuelven el trabajo del campo.
Porque si no fuera por ellos no comiéramos todo esto.
Agriculture is agriculture. It doesn't matter if you come from the moon or if you come from the United States. Agriculture is agriculture. I don't think that any immigrant coming in brings any more diversity in agriculture.
Latinos represent 1/7 of the U.S. labor force, but 7/8 of the U.S. crop workers. Immigrant workers, often legal, have picked American crops for decades, increasing the U.S. labor during the harvest season and returning home when the work is done.
Since NAFTA was passed, that's the North American Free Trade Agreement, in 1994, Canada, the U.S., and Mexico have become one unified system of production, especially in agriculture. And I'll give you two examples of that. First of all, for a century or more, most of the farm workers that pick our crops here in the U.S. are born and raised to working age in Mexico.
Immigrants on the fields have often come to work on agriculture from time to time.
¿Qué? ¿Cuánto tiempo dice que tiene trabajando aquí?
Como 22 años.
¿25, 2?
22.
Órale.
22 años, como del 86, calculo.
¿Sí? ¿Y manda feria para allá o qué?
No.
¿De dónde es?
De Guanajuato, de Guanajuato.
¿Usted, maestro?
Ahí vendemos el
Oh, vienen de allá, los dos. Órale.
Así es. Un año y algo.
¿Un año y algo? ¿Y si sale o qué onda? ¿Si sale o...? ¿El mínimo? ¿Y ocupa papeles o...?
Sin papel, ya, pues no agarra toda la gente.
Es por lo que sale para acá, ¿no?
Immigrant workers, often legal, have picked American crops for decades, increasing the U.S. labor during the harvest season and returning home when the work is done. Now fewer potential farm workers have increased the labor, and when they make it here, fewer are going back because they know it might be harder to return the next year.
There is a concern in America that illegal immigrants come and take people from the U.S. jobs.
I think there's something to it. I think there's something to be said for it because many immigrants who come without documentation, without papers, are willing to work for less. And they work very hard. And so there are many jobs that they will do or take that other people, certainly people in the black community, will not take. So.
Well, I have two things. Number one, my answer, yes, okay? Only for the fact, because of the recession right now, there's a lot of people that need jobs. By them coming, And no offense if you are, okay? So, we have other, people going here that need jobs in order to support their family, okay? And the other one is before the recession, you're gonna find some Americans here that really don't want to do, they say, the bottom of the barrel jobs, and you'll find that your illegals will do it. That's my opinion.
Many of us take for granted the amount of work it takes to get our fresh produce. Not only do these workers work hard to harvest the crops, but the working conditions are very poor as well, and not many of us would even consider doing what they do.
Farming offers hard workers jobs rather than careers, making it less likely for Americans to take those jobs who would normally look for a more stable job. In the article Keeping Book on Immigrants from the Wall Street Journal, the author says, for all the talk about invasion of million upon million of job-consuming immigrants, the unemployment rate stands at 4.7% and job growth continues apace. Immigrants aren't stealing jobs but filling them. The economic activity they create as consumers and entrepreneurs contributes to the overall economic growth. Unauthorized aliens arguably have been displacing legal workers from jobs in the agricultural industry. Farm workers advocates assert that crop producers prefer unauthorized employees because they have less bargaining power with regards to wages, working conditions, than other employees.
Pues nadie quiere aprenderlos. Se cree muy fino quieren ganar mucho. Los de otra raza.
Yo no creo. Yo no creo que los americanos quieran hacer eso.
No. El que trabaje, el que tiene papel.
Que trabaje en el field. Bueno, ahorita como está la situación, pues, es un poco difícil, pero pienso que solamente los latinos o los inmigrantes que somos nosotros somos los que hacemos un trabajo difícil.
No, para nada. No, pues gente que viene de México es del campo, no sé. Pues la verdad que todo es lo que saca es la raza de uno.
No creo. Los que trabajamos aquí, aunque yo trabajé en el campo allá en mi tierra, pero yo no iría a trabajar. Ya está uno acostumbrado acá. Bienvenidos sean y pues cada quien tenemos derecho a hacerle la lucha.
There's a belief that if there is an immigration reform, the issue of dependence on illegal immigrants in agriculture will be resolved, but when the Immigration Reform and Control Act was enacted in 1986, the agricultural workers benefited moved towards other types of jobs, leaving a deficit in workforce in farms.
Most agricultural production in Mexico is now sent to the United States, especially in the winter time. Right now, what is it? It's March, so winter is just ending. All this winter, most of the fruits and especially vegetables that you've been buying in the supermarkets are grown in Mexico, where they have sunnier, warmer weather than we do during the winter. So you've got U.S. agribusiness growing American crops in Mexico, and you've got U.S. agribusinesses getting the workers for crops in the United States from Mexico.
En septiembre y en diciembre los primeros empezamos a pescar.
Oh, entonces ahorita es temporada ahorita pues sí es de
Nomás vienen por temporadas, ¿verdad?
Sí.
O sea, no se la pasan aquí todo el año.
Nomás temporada.
¿Y qué hacen cuando no?
No, pues arreglar la tierra.
Oh, ¿se la pasan arreglando la tierra?
Sí. Pero no toda la gente, nomás
nomás una parte.
Nomás una parte.
¿A qué hora se empiezan a trabajar?
A veces a las 7 veces, según como se miren, cuando se miren.
Y luego terminan como
no, pues no tenemos solo.
Hasta que terminen el trabajo.
Tenemos el sí,
They just do their job without even knowing the destination of what they picked.
No, pues yo no sé dónde va la fruta, la verdad. Nomás le llevamos al empaque de ahí para allá, no sé. Sí.
As of 2005, there were 37 million foreign-born residents in the United States, including 31% naturalized U.S.